If the intranet disappeared tomorrow, what do you think would happen in the organization?
I think we would have a huge problem because we have over 1 million visits a day to the intranet, and that is when people are serving customers. So they go there, that's where all our processes and procedures are. They go there when serving a customer to find out what to actually do with that customer. What process am I following? And they can check off as they go through the process, all the different steps. So that would be a massive problem for us if that went away. And then if that was taken care of some other way, then I think it would really be detrimental to the culture of TD if we didn't have this platform, because it's how people connect, it's how people stay in touch after they've worked together or after they've met each other and been on a team together and then moved on. It's how they stay connected and keep driving the culture of TD.
It would be incorrect probably to say that technology is the answer for employee engagement and culture and making people feel valued. A big part of it, right? We spend a lot of our time sat looking at screens like this today, and it is a way of being able to convey the organization's commitment to its employees and the culture of the business. It feels like a critical vehicle for delivering that.
There we go. New episode. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, David. Welcome, Abby. I'm Jarbas Horst, Senior Product Manager for Fresh Intranet.
David Bowman, Product Director for Fresh Intranet. We are joined today by our very special guest, Abby Webster from TD Bank. Abby, you have the coolest job title that I've heard for a while. Why don't you tell us about yourself? Who are you? Where are you? Give us some insight into your role.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a really great honor to be here and very exciting for me. And I've never heard my job title described that way before, but I'm an AVP and product group owner for the colleague digital experience in employee enablement at TD Bank. And my team has 4 key areas, which are listen, where we are responsible for building and growing our strategic business partnerships and listening to and understanding our end users. Analyze, which is where we do our data science and data storytelling across all the hundreds of different types of metrics that we have available. We have a create team, which is where we define and manage our communication strategy and direction, as well as all our creative work, such as writing and video creation. And finally, our engage team, which is probably the busiest arm of the team, which is where we orchestrate and lead our employee engagement program, and we do all the change management and education for all our 95,000 employees. And a little bit about TD Bank. So we offer a full range of financial products and services to over 27.9 million customers worldwide through 4 key business lines, which is our Canadian and US retail banks, our wealth management and insurance, and our wholesale banking team as well.
Amazing. It's an incredibly busy business. And I was fortunate enough to be out in Toronto recently and visited the offices there. And it is very, very impressive to see it in live and, happening and in action. What's your, it sounds like you have a very broad remit, a big team, a lot of responsibility in the business. What's your favorite part of the role if you had to pick one?
If I had to pick one, it's definitely working with our colleagues. We're a really colleague-focused team. Employee enablement kind of gives that away, the name of the team. And we really put the colleague at the center of everything we do. And we're trying to provide them the best technology experience possible so that they can do the job, serve our customers, just do anything they need to do quickly. And really, we want the technologies to kind of blend into the background and them to not really notice it. Like you said, we've got a huge remit and providing all
Yeah.
the hardware, the software, everything that people use. And we want to make sure that they just have the best experience possible. And we have a lot of great people working at TD. So that's definitely my favorite part.
We got to know each other a few years back when we were bidding for the intranet project with Fresh and the team in Advania UK. Give us a bit of background as to kind of what the world looked like pre the current intranet.
So our intranet at TD had served us very well over a long period of time. It was, and actually we still have it, so it still is, large and complex with about 12 different landing page experiences. We use that to create the appearance of personalization for our different business lines. And then it was made up of about 40 different sites. It's got about 150,000 pages and documents on there. And in addition to that, it also contained and still does contain lots of functions that had found a home on the intranet, such as certain forms and databases. And usage of it is just over 1 million visits a day for a total of about 400 million or so per year. So if you were to ask me to sum it up in a very short sentence, I would just say large and complex.
So that's just the internet, right? So, but I think you had like an employee experience that consists of the intranet, and I think you also had like a social platform. How was the interplay between that solutions?
That's a great question. And when I think about the intranet platform, it's really all of those different platforms together. So it's not just the intranet where people are looking at the content, it's the social collaboration system as well. It's the people directory. It was our video platform, which we called TD Tube at the time. So all of that I kind of lumped together in the intranet experience. And that's kind of why we call it the colleague digital experience, because it's kind of everything lumped together. And we've been working to move off that over time. So we did start off with a mixture of on-premise and cloud apps. So our intranet is on-premise and our video platform was cloud. And we wanted to move over and get the benefits of being fully cloud and not have to do on-premise like a currency cycle and all of those challenging things that you have to do when you have on-prem systems.
So what was the most challenging aspect about your previous intranet, or like actually the combination of all of these different solutions for the TD Bank colleagues?
Okay, for the colleagues, it is a very difficult system to navigate. So you kind of had to have all this knowledge of where everything lives, and you had to remember that. So you almost had to have this background expertise in how to navigate the intranet to find the information that you're looking for. And the intranet itself had lots of different look and feels because it had many different platforms to it. And it was causing a sense of learned helplessness for our colleagues. So they'd be trying to find something, they couldn't find it, they've got a customer in front of them, and then they just get lost and feel helpless. And it's really difficult for them to navigate the way around. And then on the management side of it, it's obviously complex on the back end, it's on premise, we have to keep it current, and there's many different apps and a lot of differences between those apps as well. So a continuous currency cycle. And needless to say, it's also kind of expensive when you've got a system like that.
How was that feedback and frustrations being presented to you? Is that, were they surveys? Was that people reaching out to you directly? Was that you going out to people to find out what people thought about this system? How was that kind of coming through to you?
I would say it's all of the above, because we pride ourselves on knowing our employees really well. And we also have a really strong relationship with the business teams who manage the content on the intranets as well. So we were getting feedback directly, we're getting it from the intranet site managers, we're getting it in our business interlocks where we talk about our strategy, our technology strategy, and try and align it with the business strategy. And then just a lot of anecdotal feedback as well in our feedback systems where people can actually leave comments. So we listen everywhere anyone wants to talk, and any avenue that they want to speak, we're there and trying to hear what they're saying. And what we also try and do, it's not just about hearing what they say, but it's about having a conversation with them and saying, why is this happening to you? What does your day look like when you get up in the morning? What do you do? And then when you get to the office and put your machine on, what happens then? What's the first thing you do? And it's really having a detailed understanding of what they're actually trying to do and what is happening to them, especially when serving customers, because if someone's in front of them, they might only have a few milliseconds to try and get an answer to them. And we want to really understand what is the most important thing to them so we can build a system accordingly.
I love that kind of not responding to the initial problem, but beginning a conversation about it. It's so easy to kind of fix the thing that you're presented with and then miss all of the rich context that's come along with that as well.
I mean, you mentioned, all like a set of different challenges that you were facing, the employees were facing, the colleagues were facing, people managing the systems were facing, the cost also involved. Was that the trigger for introducing a new employee experience, or were there like also other reasons for going into a new platform?
That's a great question, because sometimes it's easier just to carry on, even if the system is, even if you get complaints about it, it's a big thing to do, and it's a challenging and difficult thing to do to replace something like 8 platforms. And then when you start
Yeah.
talking to business partners, they can sometimes be a bit worried about what that transition process is going to be like. So yeah, it was a combination of all of that, and we wanted to definitely move over to the cloud so we could get out of that currency cycle. It was expensive, it was difficult. We were in a situation when rolling out technology, if somebody wanted a function or some kind of different way of working in their site, they would come to us, we would say how much it costs, then we would have to go and develop that. And then we're actually seeing a diverging experience across the different sites. And that then becomes difficult to manage. So over the years, it had become very complex, very difficult. We knew that we had to modernize because we knew that the new era of AI and all of these things was coming. We had to make that move. And we actually were entering a period of currency upgrades. We managed to kind of redirect some of our funding into moving onto the new platform as opposed to upgrading the old platforms. And that's why we've done it over a period of time and didn't just do it really quickly.
And doing these things in any organization, it's not easy. Trying to do this at the scale of an organization like TD Bank is really tough. It brings a lot of its own kind of unique challenges, and given the sort of diversity of the audience that you have, people in office roles, particularly people in the frontline areas of your business, there's a lot of layers of complexity going on here. Presumably all of this required a huge amount of support from execs, from the business. Was this support easy to find? Did you have to work quite hard to get it? Tell us a little bit about that.
I think that it was quite easy to find. Maybe I'm looking back with rose tinted spectacles, but we put together a business and technology target state, what we wanted to do and why we wanted to do it. And it was a very easy story to tell. And then the business case and the funding part came next. So we didn't necessarily go and ask for money. What we asked was, hey, we're going to ask for this amount of money anyway. So are you okay with us using this different approach and modernizing the platform? So it was surprisingly easy when we did it like that. We thought it'd be a lot more difficult. And we've obviously had to continue that conversation over the years as we've been doing this, because we've been working on this since 2020. That was when we started with our business and technology target state. And then we didn't obviously get into some of the implementations until a while later. But we obviously needed to continue that conversation, and decommissioning the old platforms is been a non-negotiable, really. That can't carry on forever. Because obviously we wanted to get off and move to the new platform. So yeah, the funding conversation, we are a bank after all, is continuous. And we will obviously keep making sure we're working in an agile way. So making sure that our direction is correct and that we're providing the best value for money, and making sure that we spend TD's money in a very wise way, and don't impact the bank in any way.
I remember from kind of sitting in the kind of initial conversations and discussions that we were getting to know each other. And, one thing that came across quite strongly on this project was how clear the objectives were for the project, and how upfront you guys were in your selection criteria for a vendor. Would you be able to talk a little bit about kind of how you approach that process as well?
I think many of us around the table had been through RFP processes and selection processes before. And we all sat down and had a discussion and said, we want to give a lot of information to the people who are taking part in this process, so that we can have an honest conversation about whether their platform will do what we need it to do. And also, because they're experts in their area as well, we also wanted to get advice from the vendors who were coming to say, if you were going to use our platform, this would not be advised necessarily, or we could go down this route. And so we consciously put a lot of information together. We wanted to present that out. We wanted to be really clear and honest about what we're going to ask for when the paperwork is signed and we start working together. What will our asks be? And we wanted to be really clear and make sure that the vendors understood what our needs are, because we didn't want to get into a situation where we select a vendor and then it becomes difficult after it. And we just tried to be really transparent throughout the process to end up landing on the right person for us.
Yes, I think beyond the age of 7, no one really likes surprises anymore. So, it's better to kind of actively reduce the number of potential surprises that you're going to get.
One question, like, did you consider building your own solution instead of buying one?
Yes, the prep that we did before we went to RFP, we built our business and technology target state. And then the first thing that we did after that was a build versus buy assessment and evaluation.
Right.
So we did build our own mini intranet on SharePoint without any other software on top of it. And we tried a couple of things to see, these are examples. This is something that we would want to build. Like, how long would it take to do it? One of them was just the homepage. And we were like, okay, banner across the top, put the web parts on the page, how long to make it look nice, some good look and feel. And then we partnered with one of the vendors to see what it would be like from the other perspective, from the buy perspective. And we quickly realized that we wanted to go down the buy route. And really that was just a validation of our opinions anyway. We kind of knew, but we wanted to make sure we tested that, did a test and learn exercise, and just validated that and made sure it was the right direction. Because once you go down a path with an intranet, it's a multiple years, because as we talked about earlier, it's very hard to get off the old platform. So you've got to live with it for a long time. So that's why we took our time and wanted to make the right decision.
And SharePoint was pretty important to you guys. Microsoft 365 was pretty important to you guys. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about, what drove that.
We did a lot of evaluation as to whether that would be the right direction. And we partnered really closely with Microsoft. We do have a very good and strong relationship with Microsoft. We partnered with them. We talked a lot about the Viva Engage direction. At the time, it was called Yammer. We didn't know what was going to happen with it. And they were really great with us, and they shared a lot of information, strategic direction type information. And things were moving very quickly at the time. It was before Viva happened, but things were changing, and they really helped us and went along with us on the journey. So it was important to us when we landed on that decision. It was important to us that the vendor that we selected was really working in lockstep with Microsoft with their strategy, because we didn't want to see that vendor of the platform that we bought for the intranet go off at a different tangent and then paint us into a corner. And then, yes, we've got a SharePoint intranet, but also we can't take advantage of all the different things that Microsoft is rolling out. That was really, really important to us, because we know the speed that they can roll things out. And one of the things that we always heard complaints about for our old site was, oh, now this has come out, so can we use it? And we're like, well, it's come out, but you can't use it because we have our own internal, barriers to doing it. So we wanted to try and minimize that as much as we could. So that's why we chose SharePoint and why Microsoft are really important to us.
We obviously read and hear a lot of people talking about the sort of pros and cons, definitely, of SharePoint. What would you say to people that don't believe that you can run a successful intranet in SharePoint?
I would say it's a dated opinion. I think a long time ago, that was the thought, because it was kind of a cut down functionality if you look back in time. But now with these intranets that you can buy, like Fresh, and there's many others to meet people's needs, whatever they might be, whatever suits you. There's so many you can pick from. And it's very easy now to develop as well on SharePoint. It's just much easier than it was before. So I would say it's a bit of a dated opinion, and do a bit of research and you might change your mind.
Yes. And, given some of the statistics that you talked about at the beginning on org size, employees, we haven't really talked about security and data and just how important some of those things are going to be to your organization as well. That, there's a kind of combination of positive things that drive this decision.
And like considering all of these aspects that now David mentioned, now, and you also mentioned before. So TD Bank is a large organization. So you have many colleagues in different locations. So how was the process of launching this intranet for this distributed organization?
We kind of had an easy approach to that, in that we had those 12 different landing page experiences. So we were able to say, okay, these ones from the 12, they're going to start landing on TD Central, on X date. and we did a launch with those. So instead of doing it in a phased approach for businesses or locations or anything, we just use those landing page experiences. Some people still land on the old one. So people who have not moved the content across yet, or who we haven't moved yet, because we are in the process of doing that right now, it's our final stage of the project, they still land on the old one. But other people land on the new one. So some people are landing on the old, some people landing on the new. We have put out a lot of education out there as to what TD Central is, in case they don't land on it when they open the browser, but in case they do kind of find their way there through some of the usage. So that was the approach that we used. We just said we're going to use this landing page situation to help us with our rollout. And when people's content move over, that's when we're going to switch the homepage. But in the meantime, they will be able to go there. They will be able to access it. They'll end up landing on it if they want to use any social collaboration or anything like that, because we fully moved that over. So they'll end up going there, but the landing page will switch that when the content moves.
All right. So the social collaboration and the intranet. So did the launch happen at the same time for both platforms, or did you do like one after the other?
We did a launch of the new of TD Central, and we combined that with the social collaboration platform being moved over and the people directory. And so, yeah, some people's landing page changed,
Right.
some didn't, but that was kind of how we bundled it together. And people have been using it now for quite a long time, a couple of years now. We've heard nothing but great feedback about how it looks, how they enjoy using it. The other thing we built as well at the time was a news targeting system. So as I mentioned, we were using the different landing page experiences to kind of hack the personalization so that people could get their own line of business news. We've also built a news center, and now we've got personalization in there. So obviously you logged in because it's Microsoft, it knows who you are. So it can show you the relevant news for your line of business and geography at this time.
Having the large organization and rolling an intranet for this amount of people can be a challenge. I think like taking like this phased approach helps introduce the things step by step and take the people with you throughout the journey. Because I think like your social network platform that runs on Viva Engage, and so you have the internet in SharePoint. Like how is the interplay between those solutions? Does that work well?
Yeah, so we used to have IBM Connections previously, right? And the feed were integrated together. So that introduced a bit of a challenge for us when we were moving to TD Central, because everybody really liked that. And that wasn't necessarily how Viva Engage was working at the time. So we kind of built our homegrown community solution where we had a site template for a community, and then we embedded the Viva Engage feed into that. So it's quite, when you're on desktop, you would generally go into TD Central and use the communities that way. But it's quite good for on mobile, because then they can just open up the Viva Engage app and use it for mobile. So when you're at any events or anything, all you can see is people taking selfies to post it on Viva Engage, tag you in the post. So it is integrated, but people do talk about Viva Engage separately as well. But they know that they can see it in both areas.
Are you able to share some info on what your kind of a couple of use cases perhaps for Viva Engage, how people are finding it, what they're using it for?
Yeah, so TD is a very inclusive employer, and our culture is that it's a very diverse culture, and we love to learn about each other's cultures with it, where people are from, all of those kind of areas, the different interests that they have. So we have the communities which people have built some amazing communities out. Black Experience community is an amazing one. There are many others. The Pride one is also amazing. The LGBTQ2 plus one. It's really awesome. And there's many of those. And that helps people to understand each other. They can join in with activities. They post all the different events and everything. So that's a really great use case for us, because it helps the inclusive culture of TD to grow. And we need that, because we need people of all different types and backgrounds to be working at the bank so that we can serve our customers, because that's what our customers are. We have a diverse customer base, we have a diverse employee base to make sure that we can actually do that. So it's very important for us to give them a platform in order that they can talk to each other and have that digital augmentation to the real life work that they do, because obviously they do a lot of events and everything. But if you don't have anywhere to advertise it and don't have anywhere to talk about it and share news, then the sphere of influence is only going to be a lot smaller. So I would say that that's a really great one for the communities. And then the other use case, which is obviously a big one as well, is for the actual content itself on the intranet. So there's the content that people will land on, like processes and procedures. That's what they need to go and serve customers. But then our homepage is amazing as well. So for that, we wanted to have everybody land on the same page, but we didn't want them to have to sift through a lot of stuff to find the thing that's relevant to them immediately, because they don't necessarily have a lot of time.
All right. But we were talking about content targeting previously, and I heard a webinar from you, Abby, where you were talking about how content targeting works for the content. And one thing that I thought was quite special was like, so I think you had the example of an employee working, I think, in Canada, and then that person moved like to the US, and then like for the person, like all of the content on the internet also like changed, and without the person like having to do anything, which was quite special, I think. Could you maybe explain a bit like how that works?
Yeah, so it was really important to us that we didn't have to have groups that we maintained. We tried that before, it didn't work for us. There's so many people, they move around all the time. So it was extremely important that we didn't have to do that, and we wanted an automated mechanism. So on the intranet side, the content owners, they will tag the content with a geography and line of business audience. So they put some audience tagging in there. And then on the back end, we're logged in, so it knows who we are. And then we also get a feed from our HR system so that we know where the person is located. And it will automatically keep that information up to date and show them whatever they should be seeing based on where they are and what line of business they're in. So even if they move departments, this should change also. It's not just the area, but it's like if they move jobs, which is always happening, it will get updated for them and it will automatically change. And we get the feed every night. It updates the people directory as well. And that's when it will update. So as soon as the HR system is updated, that should trickle through and it should switch automatically.
It's great for the employees, like to the flexibility, what that means for them, right? So they're basically getting the right content, and that's kind of adjusted to the role that they are now, to the location that they are now. Really nice. So what I also saw at this at the webinar was you were talking about the release calendar. I think that's a space you have on the internet where employees can come and share the ideas. How does that work, and what is like this release calendar there for?
We want to keep iterating on TD Central and building it all the time. So we share the information about what is coming and our roadmap information in there. And we want to get our colleagues' feedback on what they actually want to see as well. So that's part of our listening mechanism, where we go out and talk to people and we listen to site managers, to our end users. And yeah, we want to hear what they think about what's coming next. And maybe they want to tell us, we'd like you to move this one earlier or leave it till later. But more than anything, it's that transparency again, that we find that once people know what is coming, it helps them with their asks. Because a lot of the time people come and say, we want this, and they'll be solutioning something. But we don't want to just do what they say. We want to find out why and what's behind it and why they're asking. And then we can build that into our roadmap and share that as well.
I love like that. So we are running a product development here as well. So when we like know the aspect of collecting feedback from people, clients, and also understanding the reason, right? So why should we build that, and not just taking things and build that for the sake of adding that into the platform? But how do you collect the ideas? Is there a form that people are using to submit the ideas?
We generally will collect them through co-creation sessions. So we will work with business lines. We have interlocks with them. And wherever we can see an opportunity to have a co-creation session, we'll set that up with them. We'll get the employees in the room. We'll have, it might be a virtual room, or it might even be hybrid. People can be anywhere. So we don't let that interfere with our activities for listening to people. And then we collect their ideas and what they want. We have discussions with them. We may have further listening sessions where we delve a bit deeper into what they're looking for. And that's really our preferred way of getting the suggestions. But people can give us suggestions any way they like. So they can send it to us, they can ping us with it. They all know who we are. We're kind of quite visible because we go out and talk about the changes a lot. So there's much
Right.
of that they can do. They can also put something on Viva Engage and we can pick it up from there. Many different ways. I think I said earlier that however they want to talk, we want to listen. So we make those opportunities available, but we really like diving deep with them and having those conversations where we can just thrash something out and say, what is driving this? Why do you actually want it?
It's a very nice culture, I think, that you have there. Really letting the people participate, like in the success of the platform. And now like moving a bit like the subject. So you have so many people accessing the intranet, like also like your social collaboration platform. How are you measuring the success of like this different places?
The platform provides metrics that people can look at themselves. So we do look at the metrics and we do understand how people are using the site, and that's what we're trying to assess. We also want qualitative feedback as well. So what do people think of it? We collect a lot of that too. One of the new areas that we're going to be digging into a little bit more is now I've got my analyze team. We're really going to be looking at a lot of the usage stats and trying to understand, okay, is it actually good if we get more hits on the intranet, or should we be trying to get less hits? Because historically, people over time just go, yeah, we get so many hits and it's great. But is it really? Like, is it better if we have less? So we are going to be doing a bit more
Right.
work there to try and understand that. And the data science and the data storytelling piece is really going to come through for us. So at the moment, it's a lot of basic stats. We did have a lot of really good stats on our old platform, and it's less on the SharePoint side. So, but we are working with them. We're finding that they are doing okay for us. One of the top asks actually was better analytics than the old one. So it was a little bit of a change for us to get to it where you can't necessarily go back forever and get analytics forever. You would have to collect them over time. So yeah, that is a really good question, but we're finding that we can delve quite deep on the Microsoft side, especially if we collect some metrics over time, and then we're going to create dashboards as well in Power BI that people are going to be able to look at too.
That's the beautiful aspect of Microsoft 365. So you can bring all of that together, right? So we're talking now about your Power BI, then, well, you're using SharePoint, Viva Engage, so that, you're leveraging the different applications that we have, like Microsoft 365. And I think that's very special about the system in general.
Abby, one other topic that I wanted to ask you about is you've been doing this rollout for a while now. There's a huge volume of employees that need to be communicated with. What's been the approach that you and team and others at TD Bank have been using to keeping employees up to date and on the journey with you?
Well, communication with them and back and forward communication, not just kind of blasting out information, is obviously very important to us. We have partnered really closely with all the change managers in all the different lines of businesses, because each of the lines of business definitely has unique needs when it comes to how you talk to their people, what you say to them. You can't necessarily just blast emails out to everyone because they may not read it, they may not have time to read it. So we take a central approach where we do a change management campaign, and then we work with the change managers and we say, here's what we want to say to people, here's the time frame when this is happening. We've created this campaign in a box, and you can take or leave whatever you want, and these are the dates when key messages need to go out. So can we work together and partner to get these comms out to your business line in the way that you want to send them out? So that's the piece about the project communications, about what's happening and when things are changing. In terms of our Engage team that I mentioned before, we're pumping out comms all the time from them to all of our colleagues. So we have tech tips, we have change champions, we have technology champions. We're communicating on many different fronts all the time. And then if there's a new thing that we've introduced, then we may be sending out tech tips about that. We may not necessarily go to the line of business and say, this small enhancement has been done to TD Central, so please tell everyone. Really, that partnership is about the changes that are happening that are going to affect people who, when they're trying to do the job, if they're trying to find information. And the rest of it is all the nice to have comms about all the cool things you can do that will come directly from us out to the employees in kind of the blasts that we do.
Yeah. And, I guess if the intranet disappeared tomorrow, what do you think would happen in the organization?
I think we would have a huge problem because we have over 1 million visits a day to the intranet, and that is when people are serving customers. So they go there, that's where all our processes and procedures are. They go there when serving a customer to find out what to actually do with that customer. What process am I following? And they can check off as they go through the process all the different steps. So that would be a massive problem for us if that went away. And then on the, if that was taken care of some other way, then I think it would really be detrimental to the culture of TD if we didn't have this platform, because it's how people connect, it's how people stay in touch after they've worked together or after they've met each other and been on a team together and then moved on. It's how they stay connected and keep driving the culture of TD.
Yeah, and I think it would be incorrect probably to say that technology is the answer for employee engagement and culture and making people feel valued, but it's a big part of it, right? We spend a lot of our time sat looking at screens like this today, and it is a way of being able to convey the organization's commitment to its employees and the culture of the business. It feels like a critical vehicle for delivering that.
Yeah, it's an enabler, and it really augments the experience.
On some reflections then, Abby, is there anything that you wish that you knew at the beginning? If you were going back to the start again, what's the one thing that you'd want to be able to carry with you?
That is a really great question. I would say I was uncertain about how TD Central would be received. And if I knew then that it would be so well received, I would have felt a lot better at the time. Like the apprehension when you're going to make such a huge change is kind of scary, and you have to have a lot of grit and determination to keep going. And if I'd have known that people would love it so much, then I would have been a bit more relaxed.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a sign that you care very deeply about the experience that people are having in the bank and recognize the responsibility that you've got to kind of connect people to the information that they need, right? Any advice that you'd have for someone starting out? I mean, I think this message about kind of staying in tune with colleagues, conversations, not communication, it feels like, for me that would be a really good piece of advice to somebody. Any, build your thoughts on that?
Yes, the listening piece is key for us, and it's helped us to be very successful. I would say communicate often, let people know what you're doing all the time, because even if you've got nothing to say, you should tell them, oh, this is still going, because sometimes these projects can take a long time and they will forget that you told them. If you leave a gap and then come back and say, hey, we're doing this, they'll be like, oh, I don't remember you saying that before, even if you have said it to them. Or maybe there's changes in personnel, people moving around. So just communicate often, just let people know what's happening, and just celebrate. Make sure you celebrate the small wins. Like when you roll out something really small, or for you, it feels small. For the business, it could be huge. Like this is what we talk about all the time on my team is like, even if it's tiny, if it's something that makes an improvement, let everyone know, because we don't know how it's going to be received. They could think it's amazing. And we're like, wow, that took us 5 minutes. So that's always talk about everything and just keep building the excitement as you go through. And if you communicate often and you listen to what they want, then they're going to be much more amenable to helping you with the change, the rollouts of any change.
Yeah. Never not be communicating.
Exactly. I know it's a cliche, but it's important.
Yeah. It's a good cliche.
Yeah. So I think you had like such a great journey with your intranet, and you put also like so much research, you and your team, like in identifying the requirements and like improving the intranet and researching different vendors. So what's the one thing you think organizations get wrong about intranets now that have learned so much?
I feel like people focus too much on the maintenance of the intranet and not on what happens to the end user. Really, the maintenance piece is a few people managing the site. The end user is the majority of people who are going there. Sometimes people try to make the maintenance easier at the expense of the colleague experience, and that's something to always be vigilant for and to try and avoid as much as possible.
Yeah, so put like the colleague in focus.
Yeah, put them at the heart of what you're doing and stay in touch. You know, the people who are updating content, that's a smaller volume than the people who are using it. So if they have to do a bit extra to make sure that it's easier for the colleague who is serving the customer or who is trying to do their job, then that can be seen as okay. They may not like it too much, and you might have to negotiate with them. But if you just explain, you know, we've got 95,000 people trying to use this system, and we've got 300 content editors, so you kind of may have to have a bit of a compromise in the way that it works on the content editing side. It's always good to have those transparent conversations so that they understand.
And then looking ahead, Abby, and it sounds like you've got an incredibly busy time all the time. Is there something kind of specific on the roadmap that you're particularly looking forward to enabling for people? And why is it AI? Sorry,
You knew it was
ignore
going to
that.
be AI. You knew it was AI. Yeah, I mean, the world is changing at the moment. AI is just coming in very quickly, and it's everywhere, and it's being built into so many native apps. And we're working to understand how AI can benefit our colleagues, how it can benefit the bank, and a lot of work is happening. So it's kind of a blitz at the moment with everyone talking about AI, and it is one of those moments in history where something really changed. So yeah, AI is the answer to your question, and we are doing our very best to understand. We also want to really do it safely and make sure that we're looking at it through an ethical lens as well. Like responsible AI is very important to us. I mentioned about our diversity. We don't necessarily know what some of these AI models have been trained on, some of the data, and that it's important to us that we want to make sure that some bias isn't introduced into working with that for our colleagues and for our customers as well. So that's something that we're really hot on as well. And accessibility is really important for us too, because obviously a lot of this change means that the interfaces change. People are not necessarily going to go to the pages anymore of an intranet. So they're going to be maybe having a conversation instead. And how does that play out for the people who have assistive technology needs?
Yeah, and I think it's easy to throw technology out into an organization. It can create some embarrassing moments if that isn't kind of considered and careful and sensitive to what is a huge and diverse audience as well. So I think it sounds like you've got absolutely the right approach in mind there.
One thing I was wondering here, like, because as you said, like AI is kind of the priority for everyone, and here at Fresh we discuss a lot about there are kind of two directions that we need to think as a product vendor, right? So we need to, of course, build and develop things related like to AI, so make that enable like for the clients. But we also cannot forget the current challenge that people are facing, right? So building also is solving the issues that people have now. So do you have like a non-AI item in your roadmap as well?
We have a couple of them. So agentic AI is huge, and everyone is being bombarded with that. So we're looking at agents and how we can use them with the intranet. We also have a in-house developed solution, which is a GPT, which has been applied onto the legacy intranet, and people are using that to get information more quickly. So it's very important that the information accuracy is kept up when you're using these GPTs, because the information that they reference has to be really spot on to get the accuracy of responses. But those are the two areas. So it's agents, could be an out-of-the-box agent from Microsoft. It could be an in-house built one. We do have an AI team at TD who build a lot of in-house AI solutions. And the one that they've rolled out on the legacy intranet, they're also working on getting that trained on TD Central as well.
Hey, Abby, final question then. Do you have a current favorite app that you're using at the moment? Something that you can't live without? Doesn't matter what it is, personal, work?
I have to say TD Central, don't I? Because I think that it's the way that it is working for our colleagues.
That is a great answer.
No, but I am serious, because I am so proud of what we've built and how the input that our colleagues have had into the system that we've built. It's amazing. And when I land on it and I see there's a tool selector there and I can just quickly get to whatever I need, I can do it so fast and I can get right there. I don't need to waste time looking for things. I can just go into TD Central and get it. I can get all the news I want. I can keep up with all the people. And I would say that TD Central, I'm very proud of it. I know the team are, and I have to choose that because it's our product.
Amazing. That's great to hear. Thank you so much for joining us today, Abby. It's been really good talking to you.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.